You know, the tribe of Dan was removed from Revelation, but almost nobody talks about the tribe that disappeared before that, a tribe that is completely ignored in Moses' final blessing to Israel, a tribe that lost its land, scattered among its neighbors, and faded so completely from the biblical record that most Bible readers don't even notice it's gone, the tribe of Simeon. Simeon was Jacob's second son. He had a tribe named after him. He had territory in the promised land. And then, slowly, quietly, piece by piece, he disappears. No announcement, no explanation, no, "Thus says the Lord" about Simeon, just absence. Today we're going to trace exactly what happened to the tribe of Simeon, why Jacob cursed him by name, why Moses left him out entirely, how his tribe lost its land, where Simeon's descendants went, and what the Bible's silence about him actually means. This is the tribe nobody talks about, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Simeon was the second son of Jacob and Leah. In the order of Jacob's 12 sons, he came right after Reuben, which should have made him significant. In ancient Hebrew culture, the firstborn son held the highest honor. When the firstborn fell from favor, that honor passed to the next in line. But Simeon never received that honor, and the reason goes back to a single event recorded in Genesis 34, an event so violent that it defined his legacy for the rest of the biblical record. His sister Dinah was violated by a man named Shechem, the son of a Canaanite chieftain. Shechem wanted to marry her and came to Jacob to negotiate. Jacob's sons agreed to the marriage on one condition. Every male in Shechem's city would need to be circumcised. Shechem agreed. His entire city was circumcised. 3 days later, while the men were still in pain and unable to fight, Simeon and his brother Levi took their swords, entered the city unopposed, and killed every single male. They then plundered the entire city, taking livestock, wealth, women, and children. Jacob was furious, not because of the justice of the cause, the violation of Dinah was real, but because of the method. "You have brought trouble on me by making me obnoxious to the Canaanites and Perizzites, the people living in this land." That act of unilateral, deceptive violence was not forgotten. In Genesis 49, Jacob is dying. He gathers all 12 of his sons and pronounces a blessing, or in some cases, a verdict, over each one. For Simeon and Levi together, Jacob says this: "Simeon and Levi are brothers. Their swords are weapons of violence. Let me not enter their council. Let me not join their assembly, for they have killed men in their anger and hamstrung oxen as they pleased. Cursed be their anger, so fierce, and their fury, so cruel. I will scatter them in Jacob and disperse them in Israel." Genesis 49, 5-7. Not a blessing, a curse, and a specific curse. I will scatter them in Jacob and disperse them in Israel. Simeon and Levi would not remain together as unified tribes with consolidated territory. They would be scattered, dispersed. Now, here is what is fascinating. Levi received that curse and turned it into something extraordinary. The Levites were scattered throughout Israel, but as priests, as the tribe that served God in every city. The curse of scattering became the calling of presence. Simeon did not find that redemption. The curse of scattering, for Simeon, simply led to disappearance. Deuteronomy 33 is Moses' final blessing over the 12 tribes of Israel, delivered just before his death. He blesses Reuben, Judah, Levi, Benjamin, Joseph, Zebulun, Issachar, Gad, Dan, Naphtali, and Asher. Count them. That's 11. Simeon is missing. Moses blesses every single tribe except Simeon. He is not mentioned, not acknowledged, not passed over with an explanation. He is simply absent. Scholars have offered various reasons. Some suggest the manuscript tradition had a scribal error, that a blessing for Simeon was lost. Others note that by the time Deuteronomy was written, Simeon may already have been so absorbed into Judah that Moses treated Simeon's descendants as effectively part of Judah's blessing. But neither explanation eliminates the stark reality. In the final words Moses speaks over Israel, Simeon is not there. Jacob cursed him with scattering. Moses said nothing at all. Both silences are loud. When Israel entered Canaan under Joshua and the land was divided among the tribes, Simeon received his portion in the south, territory entirely surrounded by the land of Judah. Joshua 19:1 says explicitly, "The second lot came out for the tribe of Simeon according to its clans. Their inheritance lay within the territory of Judah. This is unusual. Every other tribe had distinct borders with neighbors on multiple sides. Simeon's territory was entirely enclosed within Judah's. He had no coastline, no borders with Gentile nations, no independent access to trade or resources. He was landlocked inside his brother. And then, over generations, something slow happened. Judges records that the tribe of Judah and the tribe of Simeon fought together in their early campaigns. But as Judah grew and expanded, the towns originally allocated to Simeon appear in later biblical texts as simply part of Judah. The Simeonite identity eroded, the territory absorbed, the tribe dissolved into the tribe that surrounded it. By the time of the divided monarchy, when Israel split into the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom, Simeon essentially disappears from the record. The southern kingdom is called Judah, not Judah and Simeon, just Judah. The most detailed information about Simeon's fate comes from 1 Chronicles 4, where a genealogy of Simeon's descendants is followed by an account of two significant migrations. The first, during the reign of King Hezekiah, around 700 BC, a group of Simeonites traveled to the region of Gedor, the territory of Ham, seeking pasture land for their flocks. They found it, and they settled there, destroying the previous inhabitants. The second, another group of Simeonites traveled south and east into the region of Seir, Edomite territory, driving out the Amalekites and settling there instead. They have lived there to this day. 1 Chronicles 4:43. This is the last reference to the tribe of Simeon in the Old Testament as a functioning tribal group. They migrated, they scattered, just as Jacob had said they would. Some descendants remained within Judah and were completely absorbed. Others moved south into territories that were geographically and culturally distant from Israel's center. By the time of the New Testament, the tribe as a distinct entity is effectively gone. Here is the connection that brings everything together. In Revelation 7, John lists the 12 tribes from whom the 144,000 are sealed. Dan is absent, as we've covered in a previous video, but Simeon is present. He is listed in Revelation 7:7 between Reuben and Levi. So Simeon appears in the Revelation list while Dan does not, which raises an interesting question. Why did Dan get removed from Revelation's list while Simeon, who was equally cursed, equally scattered, equally absent from Moses' blessing, was retained? The most consistent answer is that Simeon, despite his scattering, remained within the covenant community of Israel. His descendants were absorbed into Judah, which is the tribe of the Messiah. They lost their distinct tribal identity, but they remained within the people of God. Dan, by contrast, became associated with idolatry so severe, establishing the golden calf worship at Bethel and Dan in the northern kingdom, that the tribe's name became synonymous with apostasy. It was Dan's idolatry, not Simeon's violence, that represented the greater spiritual departure. The Bible treats these differently because they are different. Simeon's sin was violence and disobedience. Dan's sin was the corruption of worship, the thing that, in the biblical worldview, cuts the deepest. There's a pattern in Simeon's story that is worth sitting with. He was the second son. He should have been in line for leadership. He had every advantage of birth order and proximity to power, and he threw it away in a single afternoon of unilateral violence, driven by real grief over a real injustice, executed in a way that God could not honor. His anger was understandable. What was done to Dinah was wrong, but the response, deception, mass murder, plunder, was a response that chose power over righteousness. And the Bible does not forget it. Jacob's curse was not retribution for feeling the anger. It was a verdict on what Simeon chose to do with it. And the consequence unfolded not in one dramatic moment, but across centuries, slowly, quietly. A territory that was landlocked from the beginning. A tribe gradually absorbed. A name that fades from the record, not with a bang, but with a silence. That's often how consequences work in the biblical narrative. Not lightning strikes, just the slow weight of choices made at a critical moment, playing out across generations until the name that should have been great is simply not there anymore. The tribe of Dan was removed from Revelation, but the tribe of Simeon disappeared long before that. Quietly, gradually, swallowed by the tribe that surrounded it, scattered to the edges of the known world, forgotten. Two tribes, two different kinds of disappearance, both of them sitting in the biblical record, waiting for someone to look closely enough to ask, what happened? If this kind of close reading of the parts of the Bible most people walk past is what you want more of, subscribe to Bible Radar. We follow the threads the rest of the channel doesn't pull. And if you haven't seen our video on the Tribe of Dan, that one is worth your time too. God bless.